which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The mission of Marshall Public Schools is to educate, support, and prepare all learners for success. Our first item is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I'll just say we may have to rearrange it when Mitch gets here. That's okay with everyone. I'll call for the vote.
What's going on here?
Oh, I did something wrong. Just a minute. I got Bill motion and seconding it.
You had probably been logged in for too long, so you might need to log out.
There, now you can vote.
How am I doing that?
Go up to the top, scroll up.
Here?
Yep. Click log out right here.
Okay, then log back in.
Yes.
Oh,
And
then
then join the meeting.
too long, huh?
Yep.
Sorry about that. I was in too long.
The agenda is approved. Public forum. Is there anybody from the public want to approach the board? Our next item we will skip. That is our activities presentation. We'll move on to the consent agenda. I will need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Not, I'll call for the vote. That is approved. Financials, Mr. Karen. Anything? Oh, yeah, we'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, now we can discuss.
Okay. Again, this month I emailed Mr. Mulso the bills in advance and just went over a few of
Where's
the
he
ones that there might be questions on. So we went over some of those. A lot of what's in there is still some of our summer projects like Fisher Tracks, who you saw our track tonight. Mike's Flooring, who did the carpet install. Southwest Glass had a couple of them that did our window and door installs. Otherwise, pretty basic, normal billing for this time of year.
Any questions? I'll call for the vote. And the bills are approved. Any more comments?
No, just on the financials. Again, I think the second page is the one to look at down at the bottom with the net general fund. It shows that we're 1.8 million to the good, but if you look at prior years also, that's the trend of the start of the year. Obviously, a lot of the bills haven't come through and the revenue starts off faster than some of the other months.
Any questions or discussion on that? Thanks, Dion. Board forum, any reports from the board? Not hearing any. Administrators report. Jeremy.
Yeah. A few things to share today. Start with my report. I talked about the operating referendum a bit in mine, so I just want to share that information sharing is really up and running. We're doing a bunch of presentations and such. I would just like to share that the microsite has gone live. It's tomorrowstigers.org. We have a lot of information on that site, including the need, the plan, the goals, the cost, and then information about when and where to vote. So really, most of the questions that people have about the operating referendum can be answered on that site. Encourage people to check that out.
That's well done, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you. And it's just a couple updates, things to share with the board and the community about that operating referendum. Over the past couple decades, state funding for public schools hasn't kept the pace with inflation, leaving that gap between the cost of education and our funding. To address that financial challenge, over 70% of districts in Minnesota utilize operating levies. Operating levies help pay for staffing, supplies, program costs, and other operating expenses. Marshall currently does not have an operating referendum in place. The plan that we're proposing would reinstate the previous referendum at the amount of $675 per pupil, and a successful referendum would help protect current levels of student services. So that's what I've got in my report. Going on Parkside, Darcy talks in her report about welcoming kids back. It's really been fun. I've spent a couple mornings over at Parkside and afternoon today, but watching those little ones come and go for their first couple days in school, that's a fun spot to be. She shared that too. She said having over 500 students under the age of 6, it takes some time to smooth out all the kinks, but she says we're getting there. Made it through the week. She calls out specifically serving breakfast and using finger scans. Says that may not sound like a big deal, but imagine all these little ones that haven't been in school scanning fingers of 4 to 6 year olds while trying to manage a lunch tray. She says they're doing really great and they're confident this is going to become new normal. So sometimes it's the little things we got to start with. Southview. Pete shares in his report, excited to see support staff members joining their PBIS team. Southview's had a really good PBIS team over the past few years. Excited to see that expanding. Focus beginning of the year is to teach students proper behaviors in all parts of the building. I know we noticed some of those signs hanging up when we were at Southview for our tour earlier today. PE and music teachers took a couple of days, walked students through different areas, discussing how they can show tiger traits in all those different areas of the school. And PBIS will take charge of quarterly celebrations at Southview this year, where they recognize positive behaviors. The focus of PBIS is really looking at teaching the behaviors and then recognizing the positive behaviors rather than focusing on negatives. Middle school, the highlight in her report this time, talks about the Kindness Closet. So that Kindness Closet's a project that was started last year. It's continuing. They, over open house times this fall, donated over 1,300 items to Marshall Public Schools families through the Kindness Closet. Says we love seeing families and excited to welcome students back for the new year. That's really been a successful project. They've got it set up really nicely down in the media center area. High school, a lot of things going on there. Brian shares, as the year's begun with our all-time largest enrollment that we've had since MHS opened at the current location. As of Monday the 12th, so as of last week, we had 907 students enrolled at the high school. Link Crew program continued for that transition with the high school students. It's a transition where junior and senior Link leaders, they really did a nice job helping welcome the freshman class in. So big thank you to the school board, he calls out, for allowing that schedule to take place on the first day. It really helped ease some of those first day jitters for some of our new students. Wednesday, September 14th, we held an extracurricular activity fair at the high school. This is something that was new. It went over really well. Students got involved in it, could learn more about extracurricular programs, activities. There are approximately 15 different clubs and student groups that were participating in that fair, and students could just stop up and ask questions, learn how to register and become part of that activity.
And sign up.
And sign up as well.
Because my kids got a lot of people to sign up.
A lot of kids to sign up, yep.
That's great.
It was a nice way to highlight some things that don't always get a lot of recognition or a lot of PR for some of these groups and clubs. So that worked really well. Homecoming week, I want to call that out as well. That's going to take place the week of October 3rd through the 7th. That's going to be here before we know it. I can't believe we're at the end of September. We're working with student council at the high school. Coordination will take place during the school day. That's a transition that happened over COVID. That's really working well. So all of our student body gets to be part of the coordination activities. Homecoming dance will be Friday night from 9 p.m. until 12 a.m. like it has in the past as well.
The enrollment increase is huge at the high school.
A lot of students at the high school.
60-some new students?
Yep, it's up quite a bit from us.
I look at, I think the senior class experienced the most, was it? I haven't got the data right in front of me.
Yeah. Yep. he
Where
called
did
out
they
some
come
numbers.
from?
We're seeing for students from a lot of different areas and a lot of different demographics coming into particularly the high school, but all sites have seen.
And the one that,
the
just graduated was a little small too. It was only 180 or
Mhm.
185.
Small class
So
graduated.
then the freshman class is like 220 or 30, I think.
The sophomore class is big, yeah. We're seeing
Open
that
enrollment
trend.
Increase?
Some open enrollment and some just students moving in.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of all over the place. There isn't just one demographic filling that. It's exciting. It's fun to see
The largest class enrollment we've had since we opened that building.
since that building's opened. Yep. Yeah, that's exciting. Maytech, she shares that on Tuesday the 6th, they had a registration day at Maytech. Very successful turnout this year with 50 out of the 56 registered students attending registration day. Amanda also shares that we currently have 3 sections of CNA that are running at Maytech and working to fill an additional 4th classes, looking like we'll be able to offer an additional class there. Welding class is also semester long this year, and there are some students enrolled in that for first semester. That's going well. Certainly that looks a little different than originally planned. We were hoping to have some of those classes at CTI Center, and with the delays with construction, those classes will continue at Maytech for this year. Activities, a lot of things in the fall with activities. Fall activities are in full swing, many of them very successful seasons so far. One challenge that Mitch points out in his report is we've had staffing shortages with buses. So we've had to be very creative sometimes in how we get to competitions. And he's been working with coaches and other ADs to help get us to games on time. So they've adjusted start times of some games and what have you. Some things that had to be moved to different days because of just the challenges with getting enough bus drivers. Gymnastics, we were able to go and tour that new space as part of our tour this afternoon. All the gymnastics equipment has been relocated to the new multipurpose room here at the middle school. We really want to put out a big thank you to custodians, maintenance workers, parents, students, and coaches for making that happen. That should all be set up in the next few weeks, and we're looking forward to holding gymnastics meets and such right here, all in one location without having to move things all the time. Another big change with activities this fall is the online ticketing. So we had some changes into some online last year that didn't go real well. We're doing a new program this year that so far we are fully on board with hometown ticketing now. That is going well at this point. Pass holders that have used it and have gone in there have expressed satisfaction with that. To start off the year, we're still doing cash tickets and such at the doors, but we are moving toward doing more and more of that ticketing through the online option. And this new app that we're working with is really being successful. Mitch also calls out a change with trainers. In the past, Avera has been able to provide some trainers at no cost to the district. That's changing a little bit this year, so we're worked with them on changing the model. What that looks at is a shared cost model going forward for the athletic training services. Hours are reducing from 60 hours a week to 20 hours a week, and we will still have trainers available for students, of course, for all of our varsity events.
That's a huge decrease, though, from 60 hours to 20 hours a week.
Yeah, we'll have them there during practices and during games, and just during those other times during the school day is when we're cutting back. And students will still have access to the room for the ices and wraps and such. Just we won't have the trainers there as much
Is
as
there
we
a
did.
reason for the cutback?
It's a change they were making with their cost model across districts. It wasn't just Marshall; it was multiple districts that use that service, and they weren't able to provide it at that level
A
anymore.
wonderful service.
It has been. We are moving on to Director of Teaching and Learning. Partnering with the City of Marshall's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, they are hosting the Welcome Week activity on Tuesday. Commission, what did I say? Commission? Oh, committee. Commission, you're right. I even have commission written in my notes. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission hosting the Welcome Week activity on Tuesday, September 20th. That is from 5 until 7 p.m. at Justice Park. This activity is focused on bringing people of all backgrounds together to build strong connections and affirm the importance of welcoming and inclusive places. This event will include inflatables, activities, and a bucket truck rides for kids, free sambusas from the Hindi store, and just a chance to explore a lot of different things that Marshall has to offer. Everyone is encouraged to attend that event on Tuesday at Justice Park. She also calls out in her report the inaugural CEO class is officially up and running. She has some pictures in her report too. It's really fun to see what's going on. We've been talking about this class for over a year. To see the visits and the experiences these kids are having, this is a really fun program. First business speaker was the president and CEO of True Shrimp. Students had opportunity to tour the Ballatin Bay Reef and partake in a sushi challenge. That was fun for the kids. I heard that they had a shrimp that was like the size of a dinner plate. That was part of that experience for the kids. So I've never seen anything like that. Students are continuing to have guest speakers and tour different businesses throughout the year. So that's been a really fun experience for our kids. Special ed, Jackie calls out the new para-mentor, Cindy Sanders. That was a program that you guys approved last spring. That has been a really successful program this fall as well. Cindy has been busy welcoming and working with new special ed paraprofessionals. We've hired about 22 new paraprofessionals at this time. Cindy's been popping in, helping them, doing site visits with them, just helping welcome them in and orient them to Marshall Public Schools. we've heard very positive feedback. It's been appreciated, that extra support for them as they're getting information, training, and support, and just becoming more comfortable with their new roles in the school. So
I think that's a great addition.
yeah, it's something we're really excited to have. It mirrors what we're doing with our teachers. We've got mentor programs and the new teacher center program we're doing with new staff through Amanda as well. So it's been a nice addition. Coordinator Special Programs, Mary Kay shares, the Western Mental Health Center, they provide intensive outpatient services to adolescents who struggle with substance abuse issues that include vaping, marijuana, alcohol, and other substances. Western already provides services in other school districts and has found success in helping adolescents with recovery while supporting the family, really looking at that multi-tiered approach with that. Samantha Onken is the new counselor that will be working with us this year. She will be spending 2 days a week in the district between Maytech and middle school on one day and then at the high school on the opposite day. Ms. Onken will also be attending chemical pre-assessment meetings in the district along with other outside agencies for those students who are in need of support. So I'm excited to be able to offer that program for students that have need of that as well. Leon, that brings me to yours.
Just a few things out of mine. For a food service manager, Mike Carlson had resigned. He accepted a job back in Iowa where he originally had come from. We hired Michelle Cunningham, who has over 15 years of food service experience. 9 of those is actually with Marshall Public Schools in Taher. She started on today, actually. And we're very lucky to have Lori Fruin still in the office to help mentor her through some of the situations. Jeremy had mentioned, like Parkside with the finger scanning. Darcy had reached out to Lori last week, and they really worked well together to get that resolved. Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. We received the award again from fiscal year June 30th, 2021. I put a copy of that award out on the board. Big thank you to Jill. Jill works very hard on this report, putting it together, and then Russ and Leanna helped also. So it's a good award to get. Just confirms some of the hard work and quality that our office does. But a thank you out to Warren and his crew. As you guys could see as you walk through the middle school and Southview, and you'd see the same at the high school Parkside. They work very hard to get the schools ready for school and then clean throughout the school year. Drop-off videos, I'm not sure if you saw these on Facebook, but it was actually Darcy Love's idea to do a video at Parkside for the drop-off, and then we had talked to Alex Peterson with Studio One, and he worked with middle school in Southview also to do these videos, just talking about parent drop-off and some of the pedestrian areas, which I think went over well, and I've heard a couple of the principals talk about doing them again next year. The solar project, we have heard that we're getting it awarded, but we have not gotten the official award. We will wait to do any of the work until we get the official award because that's part of the agreement, but we'll see if that comes. Some of the other schools have started to receive theirs.
Will they be able to start that this fall, or?
As soon as they were going to start actually today if we had gotten the official.
Oh.
So they're ready
So they're ready to go.
Yep, they're ready to get her done.
We had heard we were going to see the letter as early as last Friday, but it hasn't come through yet. So.
Then I just pointed out, we had talked to the finance committee about doing some different investments now that interest rates are rising up. So we've invested some money short term to make sure we still have funds liquid and available. Last week was audit week, so that was fun. Leanna had her first year, and I kind of had my first year with Russ gone. Russ had done a lot of work with the audit, but it was a good learning experience. And Hoffman and Ropes is very good to work with to go over some of those processes. And then the CTI storage building that blew over in that storm on August 2nd. We're working with the insurance company on that. They sent out an engineer because it's in an industrial park. We have to have an engineer put the design together, and then we'll have to send that to the state to be approved. So we're probably looking more towards spring of getting that built, hopefully spring of getting that built. We talk about space. It's funny because that was a new building, and I miss it already. But that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions on these reports? If not, since Mitch is here, I welcome Mitch. We can move on, and if it's okay with everyone, have him give his presentation.
Hey, Mitch.
Step to the microphone.
Sorry to throw you off, and our tour just went quicker than we thought.
It worked out, so.
He has a PowerPoint I need to pull.
A late entry on that PowerPoint, so we made it though.
I moved it to right behind the administrator.
There, it's on my screen now. How about that?
All right, well, first I'd like
There we
to
go.
thank you for this opportunity to come speak to the board. My name's Mitch Gernig. I'm the Activities Director here at Marshall Public Schools. A couple just kind of things I want to kind of walk through on the PowerPoint, and then one that I did forget that I wanted to brief you guys on as well for just kind of changes, updates for activities. The first one, just to kind of touch base on, is life as a tiger is something Bruce Remy created a couple years ago. It's still going to be a focus for me, and it's just those big pillars that activities is kind of built on, and what we kind of strive for to give our students the best opportunity to grow in some life skills in our activities department, whether it's athletics or marching band, whatever it may look like. We want to come back to these kind of main goals to make sure we're doing what we're wanting to do, and it goes back to life as a tiger. The second thing on the next slide, talk about our leadership team. Similar to what has been a part of our previous leadership teams for the activities department. A couple new faces, but nothing new to the community, or no one new to the community. This is a group that I'm going to lean heavily on, being my first year here at Marshall. I have my first meeting scheduled with them on Wednesday. Look forward to tossing some things out to them and getting their thoughts. The big one that I want to kind of bring to their attention is kind of the changes in trainer services. Avera has kind of changed their model over the last month or so. Now they have a shared model. So we are sharing the costs with our trainers, which has required us to kind of adjust what that looks like. So I'm going to go back to them and figure out what needs to be covered, and then what are some changes that need to be made. Where are some other opportunities to get some funding so that we can try to keep hours up, but at the same time keep it reasonable as well. I think we were originally budgeted at like 60 hours a week for Avera. We don't need that kind of coverage, but right now we're projecting about 20 hours a week. If we can get some funding from boosters, M Club, I'd like to get that up to about 30, 35 hours ideally. That puts a lot of extra pressure on our coaches to, whether it's learn technique of taping ankles or managing, an emergency situation. It was great, or it is great to have a trainer on staff. But if, they're not there, our coaches need to be trained to handle kind of those situations that come up. So I'm hoping that this group will help lead me through those changes and also kind of educate our coaches as well to handle those situations. The next one is hometown ticketing. We moved to hometown ticketing as our online provider for all passes for this year. Hopefully, all of you have your passes. If not, connect with me. We can make sure that you do get those. I've heard a lot of great things from the community about how the passes have worked. Technology-wise, this platform is done amazing. There's a couple little hiccups here and there. It seems to be more user error than the platform itself. Overall, though, it has been really a blessing for us to make this change, especially going from Ticket Spigot of last year to Hometown this year. It's the same platform that the State High School League uses for a lot of their state tournament events. So you'll see kind of the consistency from our events to some of the state tournament events as well. There's a couple of sections that are going this way. There are a lot of conferences that are going with hometown ticketing as well. If you go to Mankato, the Big Nine over there, they're all hometown ticketing. The Big South, there are 4 of us that are hometown. If it goes well, I would anticipate the whole conference going hometown in the near future. We will not be fully online in the near future. We will hopefully continue to accept all sources of payment. The nice thing about online is it just offers us an opportunity to allow someone access that's not bringing cash in versus prior, it's cash or check only. Now we have an online option for everyone to purchase as well. Also, if we have an event that is going to be tough to get into, it might sell out, volleyball section tournaments or something like that. This will give us an opportunity to like pre-sale or limit the amount of attendance and monitor kind of who's in the building as well. So that's what it kind of looks like. So you can purchase your passes or you can purchase your game day tickets on there. No matter whether you pay at the door or online, you see the exact same ticket price. It did require us to increase the tickets from $7 to $8 for adults and $5 to $6 for students. In talking to district leadership, we felt like it was best for us to have one consistent price point across all the different methods of payment. Some other school districts have decided to pass on the fees to to the payer instead. We're absorbing those just because we'd like to see just that consistency across the page or across the board. Last thing, just to kind of touch base, is social media. My hope is to kind of promote our events and our activities and just make sure the community knows what we're kind of doing and also give us a little bit more publicity as well. At the same time, it is tough to honestly update all the events because we are doing so much every single day. I mean, even a quiet weekend, is the pursuit of excellence this weekend. But at the same time, it's tough to try to keep all that updated and everyone informed. So we do the best we can, but that's kind of an emphasis for me to try to promote what we're doing and results. I've talked to a lot of our coaches. I would say probably half of our activities are on Twitter. I'd like to see all of us, but at the same time, if they don't have the staff or the desire, I think we have to do it well if we're going to do it. Otherwise, I have no problem kind of updating things as needed. Any questions at all?
I was talking to somebody, asking them why we're playing a football game on a Thursday night, and they said it's because of the official shortage. Is that a huge problem all over? I assume it is. So.
It is huge. For instance, our officials tonight for JV C Squad football, one of them is registered State High School League. He gets calls every single week to sub, to fill in, and we just can't find anyone. Currently, we are scheduled for Friday. I talked to our scheduler. He's got 4 officials because one is injured, and he's really struggling to fill it. That's where we're kind of at right now, and it's only going to get worse. And with the way football works in particular, I won't see a schedule until this spring. So I would love to try to get ahead of the game and and get everyone registered and contracts out. But just the way the schedule kind of works, we're kind of forced to wait until that district schedule comes out. We do have an individual that does some of the scheduling for our officials, but that doesn't alleviate the need.
Right.
So, and that kind of goes into, you know, our challenges with some transportation issues. We've had to move some bus or some times around just so that we can get to events. And it's across the board. Pipestone called me and we have to move junior high volleyball to 5:30 tomorrow because they have to wait to do bus routes before they can send a bus. And that's kind of the world we're living in right now.
Everybody's short. So.
Absolutely. Yep. There are a couple coaches that are entertaining the idea of getting their bus license. Once we get to winter, it's just going to make it that much more difficult. You go from, 4, 5 events a night to 7, 8 events a night. And we already can't fill all those routes.
Any other questions for Mitch? Thanks.
Nice time,
And
Mitch.
Thanks for all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the work you're doing, and we appreciate it. So,
Appreciate it. Yes, appreciate this opportunity, and it honestly is a dream job. I am excited for this opportunity. It's a ton of work, but it is every day it's rewarding. We have an awesome coaching staff, awesome administrators, and even better kids. So I'm thankful I took this opportunity, and go Tigers.
yep, we're glad to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
Oh, Emily, you rearranged everything. So our next item is review of policies 406 to 410, just discussion items. Any questions on those?
Really were no major changes in any of them.
Okay. Next item is second review of policies 401 to 405, 416, and 418. There are no questions on those. We'll move on to our action items, approval of the certificate of the preliminary levy.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
So every year, we need the board to certify the preliminary levy, and we ask them to certify the maximum. There are changes daily to the levy. Right now, it's showing a negative decrease to the levy, but I'm projecting it'll probably be closer to a 1% increase. But again, we need to weigh out a lot of the adjustments coming through, and then we'll present truth and taxation in December and have you guys approve the final one in December.
Thanks, Dion. Any questions? I'll call for the vote. And that is approved. Did I skip something? Or was that the last?
The approval of the joint powers agreement?
Yeah, I hit next twice by accident. Okay, approval of joint powers agreement with the city. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thanks, Sarah. Yes.
There were some very minor changes to this. Last time I think that we had updated this was 2018. Worked with Scott Vandermillen. There was a state statute that we had to change. And then some of our locations obviously have been updated. Can't stress enough how important this is to both the city and to the district because of the sharing of facilities. And the city council has approved this already, so.
Very good. Any further discussion? Not
It's
up.
been a wonderful partnership.
Yes, it has. I'll call for the vote. And that is approved. And now the meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.